What's up, everybody? So, I kind of wanted to go through some of the things with this whole Charlie Kirk ordeal, with this Charlie Kirk shooting. It's been a few days now, so we've had some more information that's come out. We've got some videos, things like that, and it seems like the more they tell us, the more it just leaves more questions than answered. And, it's just like with the whole Crooks ordeal. They say it's put to bed, but, there's irregularities. There's things that really need to be answered, need to be looked into, because some things just don't make any sense. Um, I'm not going to dive into the conspiracy theories about this, because there's a whole lot of them. What I am going to do in this video is I'm going to kind of just show some facts. We're going to go through some facts. I'll give my opinion at the end. But I wanted to point out some of the irregularities that I haven't seen a whole lot of YouTube channels addressing. And these are questions that really need to be asked, because Charlie Kirk was, he was huge. That guy was extremely instrumental in changing a lot of people's minds, spreading the word of God, word of Christ, and bringing people back to a state of normality where, we're human beings again. We can talk and not go all crazy and fight each other. He's gone now because of this incident, and we really need to make sure that we got the right guy. We need to make sure that we got everybody involved. So that's what I kind of want to break down here, and just go through and see if we can't maybe figure some things out together. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing I kind of want to get into is this video here. So they got footage from another building across the parking lot of this guy running across the rooftop. He goes to the corner and jumps down, but you'll notice something really strange in this video, something that should be there that isn't there. Let's take a look.
For the Utah Department of Public Safety. If you look up to the top left, you'll see the building where the shooter was proned out in the top left corner. We'll go ahead and play that video, and I'll narrate as we walk through.
What? So he's somewhere over in here. You can see this cursor. Somewhere over in here.
Do that. So here you see the suspect ran behind that upper building. He's going to come out on the right. Moves.
Let's rewind that a little bit.
And play that video, and I'll narrate as we walk through that.
So you can see him, he's right there. And you can see these are windows all the way through. So you can actually see him, I think, once he gets over in here.
So here you see the suspect ran behind that upper...
Yeah, you can see his shadow right there.
Upper building. He's going to come out on the right. Moves to this far right corner. As he does, he's going to climb.
Now watch. So this is him here. You can see that roof is pretty flat. It doesn't look like there's any big vent pipes or anything, just that larger top structure with the windows. Now let's take a look at this guy as he jumps down and see if we can notice what's missing.
Come off the edge and then drop down to the ground.
So there, he's got like a jacket. I think it's the other shirt. They said that he changed shirts. So he's got another shirt in his hand. I think he looks like he's got a backpack on.
As he did that, he left some palm impressions. There's some smudges, some places we're looking to collect DNA.
Yeah, floppy jacket hitting the ground. There's nothing in that jacket or shirt. You can see both of his knees bent as he hit the ground.
There's some smudges, some places we're looking to collect DNA. There's a shoe imprint.
So obviously, no rifle down the pants, but this guy's got no rifle on him. I heard some people that said, oh, he shoved it down his pant leg and had it, up in his shirt, but this guy went, butt to the ground when he dropped. That was a long drop. If he'd had a rifle stuck down there, he'd have broken his leg. He would not have been able to bend his knees like that. He would not have been able to drop like that. It would have been stiff-legged. And, I mean, that rifle they showed, it's long, We're going to look at that later, but This
where
guy's
we
got no
believe the
rifle on him.
suspect is clearly identified as wearing Converse tennis shoes. Again, we'll replay that again so you can get another view of that. It's important to note his black T-shirt, his black pants, and there appears to be some white on the soles of those Converse tennis shoes. Those are all identifiable items that we're looking for. In the stills that are going to follow this, you're going to see a very distinct
We're going to go ahead here.
lot. We're going to pan to the right.
Now you see here he starts walking. And then the camera follows him. It's weird. Somebody must have known that there was a shooter up there. He just comes down to the sidewalk and waits to cross the road. A bunch of people around there. You know, that's another thing. If he had had a rifle on him, somebody would have noticed the rifle. There's lots of people. There was somebody walking over here in the corner. There's a bunch of people over there. There's people in the back there. And they're all casually walking around. You know, supposedly he took his shot over here in the corner somewhere towards that area. And these people are just walking around. You know, a shot on top of the roof, that's 360 degrees of noise. I mean, obviously, the majority of the noise is going to be, you know, towards the muzzle, but even behind, it's going to be very loud. All of these people would have heard that shot, especially from a 30-06. That's a lot of pressure. But all these people are walking around casually. Nobody seems to be scared or trying to get away or anything like that. Somehow none of these people saw him just plop down off the rooftop and didn't think anything of it, you know. He obviously didn't have a rifle in his hands. So, what's going on here? Where's the rifle? Did he stash it somewhere up in this this area here? Are these windows on the other side, or can they be open? Maybe he dropped it in the building? Or did he have a rifle on him ever? What was he doing up on the roof? Some questions that need to be answered. So another thing I wanted to get into is I don't think it was a 30-06 that shot him. I really don't. I highly doubt it, unless the guy was using Full Metal Jacket 30-06. But even then, just the velocity behind that, it would have ripped the back of his neck out. You understand? I want to show you here what it looks like when a 30-06 hits something. This is a ballistic gel test, so I mean, obviously it's not going to be like a human neck, but it's going to be close enough. But it's going to show you the destructive force, the kinetic energy when that round hits something. And the thing is, you're not going to find Full Metal Jacket 30-06 on a shelf in a store, really, unless you just happen to find some old surplus ammo in some old surplus store somewhere. But usually you'd have to buy it online, and it's not super easy to find. But let's take a look at this real quick. For anybody who did see the video, and I'm not going to play it, and I'm not going to show any stills of it, that's on you if you want to see or not. But Charlie had, like in the bottom left part here, and it was about maybe the size of a quarter. There were some people who speculated that it hit his body armor, and then, you know, some spall and frag caught him in the neck. That's not what happened. He wasn't wearing body armor. If you look at recordings from earlier in the day, like, you can see his nipples through his shirt. You can see his shirt, you know, go around the contours of his body. Like, he was not wearing any plates. He was not wearing any armor at all. Nothing bounced off of him. But let's take a look at this real quick.
Shoot some.
I'm going to stop it right there. So this is where the bullet entered. That's about an inch and a gigantic explosion. Okay? That is a huge wound channel there. That is from a 30-06. That is what it looks like when a 30-06 hits something. If you've ever been hunting deer or something with a 30-06, or you've ever seen, you know, a deer that's been shot with a 30-06, small hole in the front, huge hole in the back. All right, the whole back of his neck would have been basically just gone. It would have been devastating. You know, it might have been a Full Metal Jacket 308, still could have been a 30 caliber round, but not with the amount of energy that a 30-06 puts out. So this is the rifle they're saying that was used. They say it's a Mauser. Looks like it's some old Mauser sporter from like a K98 sporter or something like that. Probably not the genuine Mauser. Probably some kind of like Yugoslav or Argentinian Mauser, but you can see it's an old gun, but with a new synthetic stock put on it. You can see the bolt lock tab here, but notice how this scope is mounted too. This ring is barely on there. Like, this guy, This doesn't look like it would work. I mean, no eye relief at all. Look how far back that is. You know, where's this cheek weld way back here? You know, and again, in the video, he didn't have a rifle. And they just found this rifle sitting in the woods. Not even the woods. It was like a little patch of trees in somebody's backyard in a neighborhood near the school. But this doesn't add up. Where was this when he jumped off the roof? So this is the guy here that they're saying did it. Tyler Robinson. He's a 22-year-old from Utah. From what I understand, his dad is a sheriff's deputy, has been for a long time. He said something to his dad, or his dad recognized him. I'm not sure of that part, how it all came to be, but apparently his father's the one that turned him in. You know, you got this video here. This looks like it's probably afterwards, maybe? Because this kind of looks like it might have been the shirt that he was carrying. You know? Hat and sunglasses. There's the black backpack. So we see he definitely did have a backpack on. You see this backpack's, well, obviously a backpack like that is not going to carry a rifle in it, and that was definitely not a foldable rifle. But well, let's look at this real quick.
Who was Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old Southwest Utah resident suspected of killing Charlie Kirk? Officials said bullets found with the alleged rifle used had messages written on them.
Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this?" ? Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" ! Catch! ! Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow," and a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
Those messages appear to be part anti-fascist, part internet meme culture.
Congratulations, you have been selected to receive the Resident Presidential Scholarship from Utah State University.
A video from Facebook shows Robinson receiving a scholarship to Utah State University. The Daily Mail reports he was a student at that school for 1 semester in 2021. He had no political party affiliation according to voter registration records and didn't vote in the last 2 elections. Officials said a family member said he became more political in recent years.
In the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate.
Photos from his mother's now deleted Facebook show a family apparently.
So I mean, this guy had a scholarship, I guess. Only went for 1 semester. You know, from what I've seen on videos, all these people, his neighbors, saying like, you know, he was a nice kid and everything. His parents, you know, we never saw this coming. We still don't know where the rifle came from either. So, you know, there's also that. And let's take a look here. This was right after the shot. Okay. And this is you know, somebody's camera phone or something. But notice this guy. Watch. This guy right here. So he huddles down at first, and then he starts cheering USA. That's the guy who started it. Let's go back to him here. That guy right there started the USA chanting, and then all these civilizational invalids, these people who do not belong in our country at all, because they obviously hate the country that they are, whose name they're chanting. This guy right here started the chanting. And he just, you know, there's an active shooter, just killed somebody. That bullet would have went over the top of their heads to hit Charlie. And this guy stands up and starts cheering USA, looking right back at where the shooter was supposed to be at. Okay? That doesn't seem like coincidence. Who does that? It's almost like he knew it was coming. And he was getting ready to rile the crowd up. Yeah. Like he already knew which direction the bullet came from. Everybody else is scrambling, huddling down, scared, and he's just like, "Awesome, let me start a chant. We pulled it off, guys." You know, there were several people in the crowd when you watch the videos. I'm not going to go through all of them, but when you watch the videos, there's several people in the crowd that just seemed like they were waiting for it, like they knew it was coming. You know, and if you're doing something like this, it's always good to have somebody close to confirm the kill. Could that have been the guy? Could he have been the one there to confirm the kill shot? And then just, you know, started riling up the crowd to try to get everybody to stand back up and, you know, make a bigger scene? Who knows? So here's another thing I wanted to bring up. So somebody posted, and we're going to see it in a video, but apparently Charlie Kirk had kind of gone against the Zionist narrative. And, you know, just this year, I mean, any one of us who have watched this show have seen where he's started to question them, you know, the genocide in Gaza, the things at AIPAC, the things that they do here. So somebody said, you know, I'm not going to name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie Kirk that Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them. So after his death, we get from the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Charlie Kirk was a steadfast friend of Israel and a true ally of the Jewish people. He stood proudly for Judeo-Christian values that bind Israel and America. Charlie's fearless commitment to truth and freedom cost him his life. Violence may have taken him, but it cannot silence his legacy. So, you know, super nice things to say about him, coming from the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Now let's watch this.
Okay. Here we go. On September 9th, Charlie Kirk conducted his final interview featuring Ben Shapiro as a guest. 10 minutes into the discussion, Kirk openly and objectively asked a question concerning his position on Israel.
Act against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border, on it's like maybe we should also ask a question: is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, you know, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So where, if for example, if I have less ability sometimes online to criticize the Israeli government without backlash than actual Israelis do. It's
been
almost
so
as if
unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
Though. No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Like, I host a person that I moderate the debate of, mind you, right? And I give equal time to Josh Hammer, equal time to a pro-Israel advocate, and my moral character is being put into question. And so I think it's a hyper paranoid, like we're just going to try to, we're going to just stamp out everything type of practice.
It's there's some rule you can't go there when it comes to Israel.
Well, you and I believe that we're Americans and Americans first, period. End of story. We are citizens of this nation, okay?
That's
and
right.
Israel, we have funded, we have supported, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite, but my moral character is now being put into question, Megan.
So we'll stop it there. So, I mean, you can see that he was starting to get angry with a lot of the pro-Israel crowd, probably with AIPAC. I don't know who exactly was calling his moral question. Probably a lot of people from that group. Just because he had started talking about, you know, the things that they were doing in Gaza, how it wasn't right. He started noticing things. And, you know, if this is correct here, you know, if this person is being truthful and was really told by someone close to Charlie that thinks Israel might kill him, you know, who knows? But I mean, you know, let's really think about it. Who do you think did it? Was it the guy jumping off the roof with no gun in his hand? Or was he maybe, you know, put there somehow, either as a patsy, or maybe somebody told him, to go up there. Maybe he was just wrong guy in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a lot of things that really don't add up. And I think until we get those questions answered, I don't think we should let it go. Because this is a big deal, And then all the trans stuff put on the rifle that they found that obviously he wasn't carrying off the roof with him. Where did that rifle come from? I think we need to have our questions answered. And I think we need to make sure that it wasn't somebody else. Make sure we got the right guy. That's all I'm saying. Make sure that we got all the right guys, because it was more than one. This was not a lone wolf project. Okay, this was something that was organized. There were multiple people in this. I can guarantee it. There were multiple assets put into place. And now for my opinion, it quite possibly was Israel. The Israeli government, through our FBI or our CIA, because they have assets in both of those agencies, trying to silence him because of how powerful his voice was. He was probably, if not the top, at least one of like the top 2 conservative voices in this country. When you have somebody whose voice is that powerful and they're saying things that you don't like, saying things that could lose you support and lose you money, lose you a lot of money. Israel, they've assassinated people for a lot less. Let's just put it that way. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. I don't think it was this Robinson kid. I don't think it was a 22-year-old who never had any problems, was never violent and had this nice family upbringing and everything, and just all of a sudden one day, I'm just going to go get a rifle and go assassinate somebody. Still don't know where the rifle came from. Still don't know how it got in the woods when he didn't carry it off the roof. So, anyway, hopefully we'll get some answers to this, but I highly doubt it. Y'all stay safe and keep your family safe. I don't know what to say, guys. It's going to get real bad now. Real bad. This is no longer a small tit for tat on social media. This has come to the real world. So just keep your head on a swivel. Stay alert. Cracker out.